Picture this. A young black woman named Danielle walked into a corporate office one bright Monday morning. She wore a simple blazer, carried a worn leather bag, and walked with the kind of calm that comes from knowing who you are. But to the man behind the glass office wall, her soon-to-be boss, Mr. Clayton, all he saw was a target. Danielle was 5 minutes late. Not hours. Not half the day. Just 5 minutes. She whispered a quiet good morning as she signed in, but the receptionist frowned. Clayton was already watching. Moments later, his voice boomed across the floor. Late again? Figures. People like you never last here. The office froze. Phones hung midair. Typing stopped. Danielle turned slowly. "Excuse me?" she asked softly. Clayton sneered. "You heard me. You want to work in my company. You show up on time. Otherwise, don't bother showing up at all." Gasps rippled. A few co-workers glanced at each other, uncomfortable, but nobody dared speak up. Danielle kept her posture straight. "I believe I had an appointment." "You believe wrong." Clayton cut her off. "Save your excuses. Security will show you out. You're fired before you're even hired." Her chest tightened, but not from shame, from restraint. Because little did Clayton know, Danielle hadn't come that morning to beg for a job. She had come for something far bigger. She left without protest, her heels clicking against the tile. Clayton smirked, adjusting his tie like a man who thought he'd won. But the real story was just beginning. 2 hours later, Clayton strutted into the executive boardroom, ready to review quarterly numbers. He prided himself on being untouchable, the kind of boss who barked orders and never listened. Except that day, something was different. The board members weren't smiling. They whispered. They glanced nervously toward the door. "Is the buyer here yet?" one director asked. Clayton frowned. "Buyer? What buyer?" The door opened. He turned, and there she was. Danielle, calm, confident, radiant. The same woman he humiliated hours earlier. But now, she wasn't holding a resume. She was holding a portfolio, a contract, and the weight of power. "Good morning," Danielle said, her voice steady. "Apologies for being 5 minutes late." The board chuckled. Clayton's jaw went slack. The chairman stood. "Mr. Clayton, allow me to introduce Danielle Brooks, our new majority stakeholder. She finalized the acquisition this morning." Clayton's face drained of color. "Acquisition? She's a buyer?" Danielle slid into a chair at the head of the table. His chair. "That's right," she said. "I didn't come here looking for your job. I came here to buy the company." The room buzzed with applause. Some executives hid their smiles. Everyone knew Clayton's arrogance had been his undoing. Danielle leaned forward. "Now, about this company's future. We'll start with leadership changes. Effective immediately." Clayton stammered. You can't just..." "Oh, but I can," Danielle interrupted, her eyes sharp. "See, Mr. Clayton, this morning you told me people like me don't last here. Turns out people like you don't." The silence was deafening, the humiliation complete. Within weeks, Clayton's nameplate disappeared from the corner office. Danielle's name replaced it. She restructured the company, promoted overlooked employees, and turned the culture into one of respect and inclusion. And as for Clayton, he stayed on, but not as a boss, not as a leader. He worked under Danielle's new management, stripped of his title, reporting to the very woman he tried to tear down. Every meeting, every email, every day was a reminder he had underestimated the wrong person. Danielle's story spread beyond the office walls. It became a lesson whispered in hallways and shared at dinners. That arrogance blinds. That prejudice backfires. And that sometimes the person you try to dismiss is the one destined to sit at the head of the table. Because respect is not a gift you give. It's a truth you either recognize or regret.